Welcome to MDM and Device Compliance, part of the GRC Engineer track from UprootSecurity. In this module, setting up MDM enrollment, we follow a single device from the moment it's purchased to the moment it reports its first compliance result. Along the way, every step leaves a trail, and that trail is exactly what an auditor asks you to produce. So think of enrollment not as IT setup, but as the origin point of your device compliance evidence. Let's start before the box is ever opened. Step 1 happens at procurement, long before anyone powers the device on. When your organization buys hardware, the vendor can claim each serial number to your company automatically. On Apple, that's Apple Business Manager. On Windows, it's Autopilot. On Android, it's zero-touch enrollment. The result is the same. The first time the device touches the internet, it already knows it belongs to you, and it already knows which MDM server to call home to. This is not a fleet screen, it lives in your vendor console, but it matters enormously for compliance. Zero-touch only works if procurement registers every device. An off-the-shelf laptop, bought on a corporate card outside that process, silently skips enrollment. So your very first audit question is simple. Does every purchased device flow through Apple Business Manager or Autopilot? If the answer is no, you have a gap before the device is even unboxed. Step 2 is the device finding its manager. The user powers on, joins Wi-Fi, and instead of a personal setup, the operating system pauses. Behind the scenes, it checks in with Apple, Microsoft, or Google, learns it belongs to your organization, and is handed your MDM server address. What you're looking at here is the Mac OS Setup Assistant, a screen drawn by the operating system itself, not by Fleet. Notice what did not happen. The user never opted in on this machine, never typed in a server address, never made a choice. The assignment came down from the pre-registration we just covered. By the time the desktop loads, the device is already talking to your MDM for a GRC engineer. That is the control working as designed, enrollment that does not depend on an end user remembering to do anything. Once enrollment completes, Fleet creates a host record, and this is your first hard piece of evidence. Look at what it captures: the serial number, the hardware model, the operating system version, and an added to Fleet timestamp. That timestamp is the one auditors care about most. It is the date this specific device came under management. If a control requires that every corporate laptop be enrolled within, say, 24 hours of issue, this record is how you prove it. The host record is also the anchor that every other fact hangs off. Disk encryption's status, installed software, policy results, they all attach to this one identity. So when someone asks, "Can you show me this device was managed on this date?" you don't reach for a spreadsheet. You point at the host record, and the serial number plus the timestamp answer the question directly. A managed device on its own isn't enough. It has to land in the right group, because group membership is what decides which policies apply. In Fleet, hosts are sorted into labels and teams, and the powerful part is that this can happen automatically, by platform, by ownership, or by identity provider group. Here you can see the full host inventory, every enrolled device in one place, with its operating system, its status, and when it was last seen. A Mac OS laptop might join a corporate Mac OS label the moment it reports in. Why does this matter for compliance? Because enforcement follows the group, not the individual device. Put a host in the wrong group or leave it ungrouped, and it quietly inherits the wrong rules or no rules at all. So part of your evidence is simply this: every host is grouped, and the grouping logic is written down. Now the group's configuration flows down to the device. This is the control screen, where operating system settings are enforced, disk encryption, screen lock, configuration profiles. The detail to notice is the status board across the top: verified, verifying, pending, and failed. Fleet does not just push a setting and hope. It checks back and reports the real state of each device. Verified means the device confirmed the setting is actually in place. Pending means it has not applied yet. Failed means something went wrong and needs attention. For a GRC engineer, that distinction is everything. A policy that has merely been pushed is a promise. A policy that reports verified is a recorded fact, and facts are what survive an audit. This screen is where intent becomes measurable enforcement, host by host. Enrollment and configuration set the stage, but compliance is a separate question, and this is where it gets answered. These are fleet policies, each one a yes or no health check that runs on the device. Is file vault disk encryption on? Is a screen lock enabled within 15 minutes? Is the operating system at or above your minimum version? Is system integrity protection intact, meaning the device has not been tampered with? Together, these checks are your compliance definition, the concrete written-down meaning of the word compliant for your fleet. And the result of each check, with a timestamp, is the artifact auditors actually request. Hold on to one idea here: enrolled does not equal compliant. A device can be fully managed and still fail half of these checks. Enrollment gets the device under management. Policies tell you whether it is actually safe. Not every device is corporate-owned, and this is where it gets nuanced. Personal phones and contractor laptops can't go through zero-touch because you never bought them. Instead, the user opts in. They open a company portal, sign in with your identity provider, and install a management profile themselves. That portal lives in Intune or Jamf, not in Fleet. And critically, the control surface is deliberately narrower. You manage company apps, and you can wipe company data, but you do not own the device, so the boundary is intentional and limited. For compliance, you have to be honest about that scope. A BYOD phone that is user-enrolled cannot prove full disk encryption the way a supervised corporate laptop can. So your policy set and your evidence must say plainly, these are the controls we can enforce on personal devices, and these are the ones we cannot. Let's step back and read this whole flow the way an auditor does. From the dashboard, your enrolled fleet rolls up into a few simple numbers, but the real value is the evidence underneath. 3 artifacts matter most. 1, the enrollment record, proof that a device came under management and exactly when. 2, the applied policy report, proof of what was enforced and whether it verified. And 3, the one people forget, the timeline from enrollment to the first compliant result. That gap, measured in hours or days, is a control in itself. It answers how quickly a brand new device becomes safe. If a laptop is enrolled on Monday but doesn't pass encryption checks until Friday, that is a 4-day window of exposure, and it is visible right here. Enrollment isn't paperwork. It is the first row of your audit trail. That's the enrollment journey, from a serial number claimed at procurement to a device reporting its first compliance result, with evidence captured at every step. Next, in this track, we'll design the actual MDM compliance policies, the specific rules for 4 different device types, and how to turn each one into defensible evidence. You now know where the trail begins. Next, we decide what it should prove. See you there.